aka Padders. What is happening? Welcome to aka Pad and the Real American here. The art of G.I. Joe. And why is it the art of G.I. Joe? Well, it's very simple. The art of G.I. Joe art book is semi-viral. There's been a lot of reviews on it. I just think there's a lot of conversation. Oh, we are having trouble focusing here, guys. Give me a second. But yeah, so the Art of G.I. Joe book is out. Giant omnibus book, a little bit too big for my taste, and I just feel like there's just a lot of attention just around the art of this, like all of this stuff. And come on, some of the best packaging, maybe the best packaging that we've ever seen in American toys. Package artwork, even graphic design, the logo. Everything. G.I. Joe is absolutely perfect. So, with all of that said, we're doing a little bit of a series where I take the lesser known G.I. Joe characters and I draw them, or the ones that are hated. And number 3 right here is Ice Cream Soldier. He's a flamethrower. He's a flamethrower artist. His arsenal is fire. And when Cobra hears that Ice Cream Soldier is coming, they think it's a joke. LOL. There's not much of a threat. How can an Ice Cream Soldier be a threat? Well, guess what? The guy just basically burns everyone down to a crisp, turns them into toast, burns them alive. That's what Ice Cream Soldier does, and the name is a trick. The name is to later demoralize Cobra because they got taken out by Ice Cream Soldier. I think it's brilliant, but we're in this era now too where we compete. We're competing with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so we have these like funky neon colors. And look, the as a toy line, they were just trying to keep up. But later, if you just want to do a quick comparison, a couple of years later from this, we will get Todd McFarlane doing all of his work, and we kind of went almost like full circle, and the toy aisle got a adult-driven segment that G.I. Joe never really entered into or took advantage of until recently with the new Classified series. So, like a little bit full circle. And if you think that there's there wasn't a possibility for Ice Cream Soldier to get a colorway similar to Crypt here, you're wrong. It was just Hasbro at the time was making a toy decision to sell as many toys as possible, as quickly as possible, as much as possible, and you give them credit. But there's a lot of people that love the packaging for this. I mean, the blue with the yellows, really, really well done. And we can make arguments about just what happens with the color scheme during this era. It seems like people do crap on this era as much as possible. And when it comes to collecting standpoint, people are gravitating towards these characters now because they bought up everything else, which is also a part of the problem. Yeah, it's okay just to buy the stuff you're connected to and the stuff you like. But a lot of these completionists drive the value up, up, up. We're dealing with a little bit of a focus problem, right? Why are we auto-focusing all of a sudden? Right? Let me try and fix that. There we go. All right, guys. Let's at least start Ice Cream Soldier. Yeah, and what are we doing with this camera? The focusing keeps... See, it's on auto. I mean, can we... Let me see... if I can get into the app real quick, and maybe it's on like autofocus. It could be. I was dealing with camera issues not too long ago, and you try not to work these things out live. Sometimes you have to, and it's just very annoying sometimes because you try and think ahead. You try and line the ducks up, so to speak, do your due diligence, and you can still no comprehensive devices detected. Perfect. So this is a beta. Yeah, this is. I think this is something different. Like I don't want to deal with like apps. Why? Like all of these are and stuff. So let me just. I hope everyone just feels like hanging out and bearing with me for a little bit. Here we go. Let's just. So all of these apps I have now for the camera just happens to no devices found. How amazing is that? So we don't have any. So maybe some of this is coming in from StreamYard. Say like it's still okay. Well, let's just F and draw. See right there. What is with some of that? All right. So what are we really doing here? what pose are we bringing into this guy? I don't want to do a like over the head shot. I just feel like we have to kind of showcase that this guy is a deadly like individual, right? Like we have to. I just feel like he should be facing us. Yeah, and kind of. I mean, I'm okay if he looks like he's a sign of the time. Okay, we kind of say this a lot. Like we, uh, if something's from the 70s, 60s, 80s, like we want our interpretations to look like they're from the time that we're interpreting them from. There you go. I wasn't sure if I could get that out. And so we do want a little bit of a 90s flair with this. I feel like Ice Cream Soldier, though, is the type of character, just in his deception alone, that really could have like one amazing story. But I feel like that's the case with a lot of stuff. Like if you're just focused on like two things, right? I'm not in the category when people say that they're world building or people like say that they built a universe or something. I'm not into that. And I'm not really into plotting either. So I know a lot of my opinions on that are atypical. And people might be like, well, Pete, what exactly have you done lately? Like, come on. Like you're kind of talking in this like like purposely contrarian way. But world building works. We always hear about like world building and this and that, right? Well, like yes and no. Like just because something's repeated doesn't mean it's true. And I think when it comes to when we're telling stories and developing anything of that nature, we have to kind of put these characters first, and we have to think of ways to show who these characters are. Like we have to think of a way for these characters to be real people, to have real emotion, to be effective when they express themselves. Okay, and I don't know. Are we in an age where we kind of like self-insert and we put too much of ourselves as creators in these books and these movies and TV shows? I don't know. I believe though, like Stephen King, right? Like, because I read a lot of Stephen King. Like Stephen King he self-inserts himself. Like Lee Child self-inserts for Jack Reacher. So it's just, I think it's a little bit funny, okay, when this point comes up. But you kind of want to self-insert in a way that is like meaningful and not preachy and not like high horse. And I think that's a little bit of the disconnect. And it's hard to put your finger on it. Sometimes when it's happening, you like it, sometimes it doesn't. But this goes with like a lot of fiction. Like it's really hard to pinpoint why things don't work. And if you're in the business of that, like if you're just in the business of fiction, how difficult is it to track that? to make that a part of your product. Very difficult, everyone. Very difficult. 10 minutes in, I'm not liking this at all. Not liking this in the least. And the reason for that, though, is we don't have enough torque on the body at all. But we really need to get his helmet in order. Let's go. Ice Cream Soldier. Ice Cream Soldier, G.I. Joe. So here's, if you guys just want to see my phone, this is what populates, and again, this is local population based on what you're doing in across, because I have all my Google stuff synced. So this is across all of my browsers, we'll say. Ice Cream Soldier, Ice Cream Near Me, Ice Cream Philadelphia, Ice Cream Fishtown, Ice Cream Cake. That is who you're dealing with. Yeah, I just want to get like a little closer look at his helmet here. See right here. So he's got like a little bit. Oh, Sean, what is up? How we doing, Sean? Good morning to you, buddy. We're working on Ice Cream Soldier. I don't know if you're familiar with Ice Cream Soldier as a G.I. Joe character. We're trying to make him look as cool as possible and as relevant as possible. How are you today, Sean? What is going on? Where are you from, Sean? Here we go. So he's got like a look. He does have a dated shape. Like just the shape of the helmet. Very dated. But we love that. Here we go. I always add like the communications like bump, just like for like the earpieces and like critical information to roll through the headset and ear. From Texas. What time is it? What time do we got over there in Texas? It's 11 a.m. here. I'm assuming it's a little bit earlier for you, right? And cheers, by the way, buddy. Thanks for popping in. All right. So sometimes when you work on a character from a particular era, like there's tropes from that era, right? Like that like just for example, because we do a lot of stuff in the 90s here, like when you're dealing with the 90s, you're going to have like a big gun and shoulder pads and straps, and the character itself will be weaponized in a particular way, we'll call it, right? And the hilarious thing is you kind of never get tired of this. Like you give yourself the benefit of the doubt. You say, well, not this time, not this character. But when you drill into the mechanics of some of the design work, like you find out how true that actually is. And even here, like we're drawing one of the most maligned, hated. People really do. Like Ice Cream Soldier is on every single list of the worst G.I. Joes. I know because I went through them all. And the hilarious part, though, is that he fits the tropes of the time. And you kind of always say to yourself, well, like, it's not this and it's not that. But a lot of times when these tropes hit like you see them in motion, like when you see them kind of like put into effect, you say to yourself, man, like this character maybe had no chance. This character kind of potentially had no hope to hit. But it's also tough, like at the time, to have characters that were not featured in the cartoon series hit. But the cartoon series really, like, honestly, like losing all relevance by this point. Everything became Turtles, and then after Turtles, everything became Power Rangers, and after Power Rangers, right? Say with me, everything became Pokemon, and then we had this little bit of this like micro takeover by Gundam and Dragon Ball Z when it comes to American toy shelves, and this is where the '90s struggled to find a property. Like that's the big key there. We had great attempts like SWAT Cats, Exo Force, which Exo Force is the premiere of all of those shows. Street Sharks. I mean, the list goes on, and it goes on and on for a very particular reason because they're trying to figure things out. He-Man, New Adventures came back, and it gets very depressing. I'll say, property by property when you go through the list. Biker Mice from Mars, and there's somewhat of a desperate need now to we're almost like repeating history because all of these properties are coming back, even like Gargoyles and NECA, but they're coming back, and the reason that they're coming back is because nothing's replacing them. And we're picking failures to try and increase the fandom and draw people in. Everyone's spending their money on, $80. I don't know how much they are, maybe $50 NECA Gargoyles, but they're not spending their money on new ideas and new things. So we're kind of in this like loop. It's depressing. Ifki, what is happening? Yeah, Screamers is underrated. Holy crap, Screamers. I should do that for the podcast. Is Screamers based on a Philip K. Dick story? Screamers is great. Low budget too. Great special effects, practical effects. No, I haven't. I never met Peter Weller. What is happening, Ifki, dude? You're making me jealous with these Gator pages I'm seeing. Making progress, loving it. No, I never met Peter Weller. I would like Peter Weller is right. Is he a Rhodes Scholar? Like I forget a little bit of his academic background, right? Because he kind of left Hollywood and became a intellectual. I want to say, right? Peter Weller is incredible, but we know him. We do know him as RoboCop. So I'm just here. I'm just trying to just increase a little bit of the interest because he's got these like cross straps. And I don't know why I should tuck these straps into the armament. Like I should not make them cut into. Like I was hoping. Right, because his like, look at this cannon of a blowtorch here. I'm like, what is happening? What's happening here? And we're going to make some of like, I guess we should make some of this ribbed, just so he's got motion. We're kind of adding our own design touches to along the way, just to kind of, as Walt would say, plus out the character. Flame resistant suit. Dude, I love that he has a knife on his leg. So here's his, jeez. You kind of have to say, like, what are we, not that it's like bad. Like by the time G.I. Joe gets to this level of the toy line, like it's it's different. It's just not G.I. Joe anymore. And I think that's what upsets a lot of people. But like you have to give credit where credit is due. I mean, they tried so much. They really did. Like you can kind of just say they kept it going for as long as they could. But also like being smart enough, like on a, see, and that's a little bit of what we want. Like we want doesn't he look like Matt Tracker from Mask? Looks like Tracker. But you kind of, again, like you want the almost like the oversized helmet. But yeah, I mean, I love that he just has like a non-science fiction like firearm. I don't know why. And he's got the knife in his boot. It's just, so some of this needs to get worked. It does. So, and then there's people that did their lineup of the flamethrower, right? There's Blowtorch, there's Ice Cream Soldier, and what's the other one? The other guy looks a little bit like a bug. Not Cinder. Cinder's Mortal Kombat. Yeah, we don't like that right here. We want to bring this closer towards the viewer. Yeah, I'm just thinking, what is the other dude's name? There's like 3 prime Blowtorch characters in G.I. Joe. And I'm forgetting one of them that was way before this point. So this is where you have to feel. You have to kind of, because it's an awkward, like there's foreshortening here. Yeah, we want that knight to kind of be. We kind of want it to awkwardly stick out, almost like just like it does on the like just within the character design. Reason for that is because it's just it's interesting. But I love that he has like a sidearm. That is so freaking cool. A lot of the weapon selection, a lot of these characters at the time had like you could say like kind of had like a primary weapon, right? And then they would just be packed with like generic weapons. And it's tough, you know, because they did add value. They definitely added playability, but I just think like you always wanted a level of realism to GI Joe, and that's almost going to lead us to some of our next guys like DJ, Crystal Ball, Raptor. A lot of it is like this loss of realism, and you know we just sit down and you make the argument of what's realistic and what's not, and why does some of it hit. And a lot of these are subconscious decisions made by the audience, and maybe like decades later, okay, you can debate why something landed and why it didn't, but you're still not going to know. There's no answer. And we're kind of in a little bit of a time where we're infinitely analyzing this stuff to no end. Just trying to figure this out. Sorry, we're just trying to get exactly. And then let's. So like it is a designed blowtorch. And part of this is I wanted all of the blowtorch to kind of be in frame. That's why we got lucky with the pose to showcase that enough. It's not quite there, not quite there. You kind of want to say maybe you're a little bit too wide with the stance. I do want his like his finger to be like on fire. Trigger finger. Just trying to look for a couple more. These straps are really they're bad. They are not easy to showcase here. All right, AK Padders, busy day today, but I like where we're at. So follow all the social media on the progress of Ice Cream Soldier. But I think we're there. Rocking and rolling. Love you guys.